Complete it, label it properly, just like how it is being shown. Complete it first. Is it over? Draw it fast. So who will tell me how many phases are there of trade cycles? How many phases of this business cycles are there? You can write your answers on the chat box and then I will get back to you all. How many phases are there for the trade cycles? How many phases are there for the trade cycles or business cycles? Last lecture, I think I had told you.
Four.
Yes, four phases are there. Okay.
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
okay. So what are those four phases? What are those four phases? Okay, Shreyas Gaikwad has given me the correct answer. Very good. It is depression, then it is recovery, then it is prosperity, and then it is recession. Okay, so these are the four phases of the business cycle, right? Have you completed drawing the diagram,
Yes.
students? Everybody has completed? Okay, okay. So, as I said, there are four phases of the business cycles. So, let us see those four phases, correct? Now, you put your answers on the chat box. Is the slide visible? If it is visible, write down slide, 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 slide. Is the slide visible to all? Okay. Everybody can see the slide, correct? Okay, so let us go back to the slide. Right. So the four phases of trade cycles. Okay, the first phase is what? First phase is depression. Now, what happens in depression? Depression is the, I should, is the most worst one. Is the worst one which we see in case of business cycle or the trade cycle. Why it is the worst one? Okay, it is a very bad phase, the poorest of all. Why so? Because in case of depression, what happens? Everything comes to a downfall. There is downward trend. The economy shows a downward trend. You can see in your diagram. You can find that it is showing you a wave-like fluctuation. Okay. Sometimes the economy reaches the topmost point, then it starts falling, then again it reaches the starts rising, then again it falls. So such kind of fluctuations, they keep on happening. So depression is the poorest phase. It is the worst one. Why? Because in case of depression, the economy is at the bottom phase. And at the bottom, when it reaches the bottom point, it is called as a trough. Trough. It is called as the bottom point. It is called as the trough. And when the economy reaches this trough, what happens? Everything comes down. Okay, the income of the nation comes down. Then, as a result, there is no production, there is no manufacturing. Then there are like no economic activities being undertaken. Then there are no investments. They do not happen during depression. Then people, as they receive less income or no income at all, some people can be unemployed. There will be rapid unemployment. People will be jobless. Okay, if there is a depressionary phase. So then, since people become jobless, there is rapid unemployment or income is reduced. So what will happen to the consumption? When our income reduces, our consumption also reduces, or our savings, investment, they also reduce. So when income will reduce, automatically what will happen? These things will come down. Consumption will fall, investment will fall, savings will fall, right? Then as a result, the production activities are not being undertaken in the country. So all these problems we can see when there is a depressionary phase, and economy entirely reaches the bottom point, and that bottom point, it is called as a trough. Trough. Okay, so this is about your depressionary phase, right? Then the second one, it is called as a recovery phase or recovery stage. Now, recovery, what is the meaning of recovery, students, according to you? In case of economics, you post your answers on the chat box, please. What do you understand by recovery? We often say, no, okay, this or that person is now recovering from the disease. Now, for example, anyone who is affected by this COVID 19, okay, in our country, the recovery rate is high, if you see. I do agree that people are more affected. India is in the third position all throughout the world in case of COVID 19, but we also can see that in our India, the recovery rate is high as compared to the other countries. So, what do you understand by this recovery thing? You think in economic terms and reply me on the chat
ये
box.
बंद कर.
What do you mean by recovery? Okay, Nayak Sampath has given me the answer as the revival. Okay, okay. Soumya has given me the answer as improving. Rituja, improvement. Anyone? Anything else? Improvement in our output, employment, etc. Anyone? Anything else? Any other answer? Trupti has answered as improvement in output employment. Shares has answered as it regains and exceeds peak. It doesn't exceed, but I can tell you that recovery is a slightly better situation. Okay, it can show you, it can show us the improvement in case of economic activities. I will write the same on the chat box so you can copy down or you can take down from there. Okay, so what is recovery? So recovery, it is a slightly better situation, slight improvement, which can give what? Which can show us the revival of the economic activity. Slight improvement in the economic activities of the nation. Okay. So in case of recovery stage, what happens when the economy comes into this recovery stage? When we can see that our that trend, economic trend, it has come to that bottom point. So it slightly rises in case of recovery. That curve which you can see in case of business cycle, that curve, slightly improves. It slightly goes upwards. Okay, in case of recovery. And slowly, very slow growth will happen in case of recovery. Like there will be a slight increase in production, there will be a slight increase in output in the sense that is productivity. There will be slight increase in employment, like few employment opportunities will be created in the economy. Okay, there will be a slight increase in income. So as a result, what will happen, like very slow growth can be seen in case of consumption, very slow growth can be seen in case of savings, investment, like that. So that phase, which will show us a revival image, okay, or which will give us a slight increase in case of economic activities undertaken in the country. It will be called as what? It will be called as a recovery stage. So that curve which has come down in case of depression, it will slowly move upwards, not entirely, but uh, partially, I can see. Okay, so that is called as a recovery stage. Now the next one is the prosperity stage, which I will show you through the slide. Okay, now next is about the prosperity stage. If you can see this slide, just put on the chat box as slide. If you can see the slide, put on the chat box as slide. Okay, okay, everybody can see the slide. Now, in case of prosperity stage, what happens, students? Prosperity is the best situation, and in this prosperity phase, the economy reaches the peak position at the topmost point. Economy reaches the highest point, the topmost point, and this topmost point, it will be called as a boom. I will write the same on the chat box. This topmost point will be called as boom phase. Okay, it will be the highest peak point. It will be the highest peak point. Okay. Now, in this prosperity phase, what happens? The economy reaches the topmost position, so everything is going to increase. Okay, and the bank credits will rise very rapidly. Then interest rate will be high, although, but still bank credits will rise. Then idle funds, whatever idle funds are there in the economy, it will be channelized properly. Then there will be rise in everything. There will be rise in employment. Okay, more job opportunities. Then there will be rise in income. There will be rise in national output, that is the productivity part. Then there will be rise in investment. People will try to consume more. When their income increases, obviously what will happen? People will try to consume more. Then they will try to save more. Their consumption, savings, investment, everything is going to increase. And as a result, what will happen to the standard of living of the people? If their income increases, their consumption increases, their savings increases, investment decisions they take, individuals they take, investment decisions. So what will happen all throughout? The standard of living of the country, okay, it is going to increase, including the per capita income of the nation, that is the PCI, per capita income. So economy will be at the topmost position, it will be at the boom point, and everything is going to increase in the prosperity phase, and there will be rapid economic progress, there will be rapid economic growth. That phase, it is called as the prosperity phase. This is the third phase. Then the fourth phase, it is called as a recession. Now, in case of recession, what will happen? Once the economy reaches the peak point, okay, then again there is a chance that economy might start falling. There might be a downward trend. Okay, if you see the curve, in case of recession, what will happen once economy reaches the boom phase? Again, the curve shows a downward trend. Again, the curve starts falling down. That means what is happening? Again, the economy is falling down. How it is falling down? I am not saying that it will fall down completely. एक बार से नीचे आ जाएगा. No, it will not happen. It will start falling down slowly again. And this downfall, it will be called as what? It will be called as a recessionary phase. Now, if you see in this pandemic situation of COVID-19, we already know that our economy has reached a recessionary phase. Now, but this recession continues for many more months, and if this is the situation which is happening, if it is continued, then we are at a risk of entering depressionary phase also. Okay, now already we can see that many people in case of who are employed in IT sector, or many people who are employed in manufacturing, or many people who are employed in travel tourism, hotels, hospitality and all, so they are being laid off in numbers, huge numbers. Okay, this layoffs and all, it is like very very bad thing which is happening in our country, not only in our country, all over the world, in this pandemic situation. But if this continues for a longer duration, then our India will be at a risk of entering the depressionary stage as well, because already we have reached the recessionary stage. So in case of recession, when the economy again starts falling down, when the curve of business cycle again starts falling down, everything starts coming down, right? So what happens? There will be a contractionary phase. We had seen in the last lecture about expansion and contraction. So slowing down of everything. Okay, growth will happen at a lesser rate, economic growth. Then everything will start falling down. Production will start falling down. Then investment will fall down. Consumption will start falling down. Income, okay, employment opportunities will be lessened. Okay, so all these things, all such problems again come when partial, initial decline starts happening in case of the economic activities, and that downfall, we call it as the recessionary stage. Have you understood, all of you, all the four phases? If you have understood, you can put your yes or no on the chat box. Has everybody understood the four phases? Okay, everybody has understood, right? The four phases of business cycle, including the diagram, correct? Okay. So let us go then to the next topic, that is control of trade cycles. I will again show you the slide. So if the slide is visible, you can write slide on your chat box. Check it out if my slide is visible to all. If it is visible, then you can write slide on your chat box, please. Okay, slide is visible, right? So let us continue with the next topic, control of trade cycles. And all of you all, please go to your Google Classroom and mark your attendance over there. Do not post comments. Simply click on yes and submit it. Okay. Control of trade cycles is what? How we can control these fluctuations? We can see there are rapid fluctuations which happen, ups and downs which happen, okay, wave-like movements which happen in case of business cycles or in case of trade cycles. So how to control them? How to tackle them? What are the measures? What are the steps we can undertake in case of this? So the first step which we can undertake is monetary policy. Okay, tell me who implements the monetary policy. I have discussed this in the previous class. Who implements the monetary policy? Monetary policy is implemented by whom? Okay, everybody has given me the correct answer as RBI. So our RBI, Reserve Bank of India, it implements the monetary policy, and various monetary policies are there. Like we have the CRR, we have the bank rate, we have the open market operations, we have the repo rates, reverse repo rates, SLR. Okay, interest rates are like lowered, interest rates are increased. So all these are what they are, the monetary policies. It is implemented by our central bank, that is the RBI. Now, we all know that various instruments, such kind of instruments are used by RBI. Like as I told you, bank rate is there, then CRR rate is there, SLR rate is there, OMO, okay, repo, reverse repo rate. So all these instruments are changed every now and then. Okay, sometimes these rates are increased, sometimes these rates are lowered depending on the situation. Okay, some changes in these rates might happen in case of inflation, some changes in these rates might happen in case of deflation. So depending on the economic situation, RBI will bring the changes in all these monetary policies or instruments. Okay, now sometimes RBI does what, it tries to change the money supply. Money supply cannot remain the same every year. Now in 2020, money supply is different. 2021, next year, money supply is again going to change. Okay, so this is how it cannot remain the same every year. It goes on changing. So RBI brings changes in the money supply. Okay, like when there is expansionary phase, during the expansionary phase, it reduces the money supply. Okay, so such kind of changes, it keeps on occurring. And who brings these changes? It is brought by our central bank, that is the Reserve Bank of India. Now, monetary policy might not be effective during depression due to low marginal efficiency of capital. Now, what is marginal efficiency of capital? It is called as MEC. Marginal efficiency of capital is nothing but it is the net total rate of return by additional capital. I will write the same on the chat box. Okay, you can please make a note of that. Okay. So what is marginal efficiency of capital? It can be also written as MEC. It is the net rate of return which is expected from the purchase of additional capital. Rate of return. So whatever rate of return you will be getting in the future. Whatever returns you will be getting in the future. So total rate of return which is expected in the future, that can be called as the marginal efficiency of capital, MEC. Clear? So let us go back to the slide. So monetary policy in case which is implemented by RBI. So what can happen in this? Marginal efficiency of capital can be low, and as a result, monetary policy may not be effective sometimes during depressionary phase. Okay. Now this was about monetary policy. Next is about fiscal policy. Fiscal policy, we all know that fiscal policy is implemented by the government. Okay. And whenever government feels that it needs more income or it needs more taxes, so that time what the government can do? government will increase our taxes. So this is how, like that time when we pay more taxes to the government, its income is also going to increase. So that is called as a fiscal policy. So fiscal policy also changes are made. In case of fiscal policy, also changes hota rehta hai through the government. Okay. So what kind of changes? Now, for example, during depression, fiscal policy is used to increase the demand. Okay. Then sometimes, during inflation, what happens? Taxes are increased. Why taxes are increased? Because uh, suppose GST is now there. Okay, now GST is added to our bill, so automatically the price which we have to pay, it will be high. So such kind of taxes, they can be the cause of inflation. Okay, so such certain changes, such kind of changes are brought about by the government through what? Through the fiscal policy, right? Then the next one is about public expenditure. Public expenditure, we know what is public expenditure. Anyone can tell me what do you mean by public expenditure? Please put your answers there on the chat box. What is meant by public expenditure? It is expenditure for whom? Whose expenditure it is? It is expenditure of the government. Okay, government, it spends on us. How? It is the spending of the government. How does the government spend on us? Government gives us subsidies, government gives us concessions, government gives us, certain benefits like pension benefits, provident fund, etc. So, giving all these things, government has to spend the money, right? It has to bear the expenditure, and this expenditure which government bears for the public, it is called as what? It is called as the public expenditure. So we can see public expenditure over here acts as a stabilizer. Okay, it can generate employment, it can generate productivity, it can increase the total demand. So here, with the help of government spending also, sometimes government might bear more expenses on us, sometimes government might bear less expenses on us. So through these things, we can control the fluctuations in business cycle. And lastly, social security payments. Social security payments are also provided by the government. जैसे कि मैंने बोला अभी, pension benefits are provided by the government. Then provident fund, gratuity, all these benefits are provided by the government. So in giving all these things, the government has to bear the expenses. Okay, so all these things, with the help of all these things, what we can say is we can control the fluctuations of the business cycles, right? Have you understood till here, everybody? If you have,
Yes, ma'am.
okay, if you have understood, please put yes or no. If you have not understood, you can put no. And if you have any doubts, queries, you are free to ask me. Any questions? Okay, I will give you a few questions. Please write it down for this chapter. Okay, I will just give you a few questions. Please write it down for this chapter. So then I will not post the questions for this lesson on your Google Classroom because I am already giving it now. So write chapter 4, economics chapter 4. First question is, explain the meaning and features of, explain the meaning and features of, explain the meaning and features of trade cycles. Trade cycles. Okay. Okay. Second one, discuss the different phases. Discuss the different phases. PHASES. Discuss the different phases of trade cycles. different phases of trade cycles. Then third one, suggest briefly, suggest briefly, suggest briefly the important policies, suggest briefly the important policies to control trade cycles. Suggest briefly the important policies to control trade cycles. I hope I am clear to you all. Okay, please go to Google Classroom and mark the attendance there by clicking on yes. Okay, see you then tomorrow around 11 o'clock. Okay, bye. Take care, everybody.